we are going to be talking about vegetables and herbs for shady gardens. And yes, I'm standing in the sun. But I have a lot of shady area in my garden. And while many plants require full sun to thrive, there are several vegetables and herbs that can tolerate and even prefer shady conditions. So let's go over some of the choices that we have in different categories. Starting off, vegetables. Leafy greens like lettuce, you have romaine, butterhead, and leaf lettuce all enjoy a little shade. Now, spinach is a classic choice for shade. I mean, you can grow spinach without hardly any sun at all. And kale, it tolerates partial shade well. I like to kind of plant my kale in a sunny spot, but up under something larger so it can get that shade, but it'll still get some sun. Collard greens is another. It's really shade tolerant leafy green. And as we know, it is also cold hardy. So some of these things can be grown even in the spring and throughout the summer, depending on where you live and just how shady your yard is, because there are some people that really don't get any sun whatsoever. Arugula is another one. Not only is it great in partial shade, but arugula is also really fast growing. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of arugula, which I'm kind of surprised because arugula has like a peppery taste to it, but you won't find me growing arugula. I do not like arugula, okay? It's just, I don't know. It's more bland to me than it is peppery. But if you like arugula, it's fast growing and it's great in partial shade. Root vegetables. Now, beets is something that can grow in partial shade, as well as carrots. Carrots is a good choice for not only cooler temperatures, but shady spots. Quick growing radish. I talked about this last week, and radish is one of my favorite, especially black radish. It can grow in almost any condition. I've had it in the sun, I've had it in the shade, I've had it in the cold, I've had it in the hot, and I still get my radish when I plant them, okay? So radish is a really good one. And not only is it good for your shade, it's also cold tolerant. It's also really quick growing, okay? So we like that quick growing stuff. If you all can hear me over the airplane, all right? Other vegetables can include things like asparagus. Now, asparagus is a little tricky because it does like, and as a matter of fact, it really prefers shade. However, it takes forever. I mean, I've been growing some asparagus over there. It's going into its third year, and I probably need at least 2 more years before I can even begin to harvest. But if you can have the patience and work with it and tolerate it and wait, once you get that asparagus growing, it's a perennial. It'll just keep growing every year. Every year you'll have asparagus. So give asparagus a chance, and it is excellent in the shade. And although many people don't think so, peas can tolerate shade as well. So good time to start your peas, or start them in the shade. If that's all you have, give peas a shot. Also, rhubarb. Rhubarb is actually a perennial. So once you get it going, it'll come back every season, or every year it'll come back. And it loves the shade. All right, my favorite herbs. I love my herbs. And mint is so versatile, and it actually thrives in the shade. Now, I like mint for a couple of reasons. Not only do I like it for my teas and things like that, I like to plant mint in my garden. I like to have at least 1 or 2. I have 1 big container now, but I like to have either 1 big container or a couple of containers spread out, because guess what? Mint keeps away rodents and things. Squirrels, anything in that family, and other small little creatures, they can't stand the smell of mint. So if you have a problem in that area, try growing mint. And I would definitely grow mint only in a container because it is so invasive. Your entire yard will be mint if you plant it out there. Plus, if you grow it in a container, you can move it. So if you see squirrels or rodents or mice or whatever anywhere in your garden, you can pick that pot up and take it to that area to get rid of that pest. So try growing mint. It grows well in the shade and it's excellent for pest control. Now, another one of my favorite herbs is parsley, and it can tolerate partial shade. So I usually grow it over here in this container, but next year I'm doing something different. Now, cilantro. Cilantro is one of those things that you either have a love or hate for it. I have never seen anybody say, okay, I can take a little cilantro. You either like it or you don't. I am not a fan of cilantro, but it actually prefers cooler temperatures and can handle the shade as well. Then we have our oregano. Oregano can grow well in partial shade. I have a pot over there. I got to cut it back as we speak. Matter of fact, I have so many herbs in this garden right now that I'm going to take a day, and each day I will gather an herb because that's all that's going to fit in my dehydrator. One herb will fill up my dehydrator, and that's me not harvesting the whole thing. And oh, I love thyme, and it is also shade tolerant. So I have all of those in my garden, and I just everything but the cilantro, and most of them are in a shadier spot. The sun that they get is maybe for an hour or two at the most during the day, and the rest of that time, that part of the yard is shaded. And chives. Chives is a really hardy perennial, and it does well in the shade too. Now, when you're talking about growing vegetables and herbs in shady spots, make sure that you pick varieties that are specifically for shade and that they perform well in low light, because shade is also low light. So do your research before you just go planting. Even all the ones I mentioned, do your research and make sure you pick the variety for partial shade, low shade, or some shade tolerant and low light. Now, it may seem like plants that you grow in the shade will need less water, but actually plants that you grow in the shade can need more water than those in the sun because they're used to the moisture. They're used to not being hot and scorched and dried out. So make sure that when you plant your plants in the shade, that you check on them regularly and you're giving them the proper amount of water for that particular plant and that particular variety. Okay, if you are new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me in my garden. I really do appreciate each and every one of you all. Take a second and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss anything. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for keep coming back and giving me the opportunity to spend time with you while I'm in my garden. And for my channel members, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for your loyal, faithful support. And if you are not a part of the Scaredy Cat crew, what are you waiting on? Come on aboard and join the Scaredy Cat crew. Okay, I'm Pam. This is Zone 8A. And anywhere you can sit a pot, you can grow a plant.